This week on the Hooters Tour with Lee Moore and Kim Breel. Coming up this half hour, 6 players battle for the $15,000 first place check. Watch the best shots of our 4 championship rounds. We'll also meet Hooters professional T. Burton of Shelby, North Carolina. And who's the best with a sand wedge? Dusty Watson and his bag of tricks, all coming to you from Portsmouth, Ohio.
Hello everybody and welcome to Portsmouth, Ohio and the Elks Country Club. It's our 3rd stop for the Hooters Tour at this old Donald Ross designed golf course. I'm Lee Moore.
And I'm Kim Breel. Lee, this week will not only take on the 6,300 plus yard layout, but fog and stormy weather will put our players and our tournament staff to a real test.
Well, you can say that again. This week, our 13th event of the season is the Pepsi-Cola Open. Now, Eric Johnson is the defending champion of this event. He's going to be a factor again throughout this tournament. You can bet on that.
Last year, Eric and current Nike Tour standout Charlie Reimer both shot 18 under par scores to force a playoff, which Johnson went on to win. Let's go out now to the golf course and see how the first 36 holes of play will set up this year's event.
Fog and some rain have made each day of the event just a bit longer. Brian Gorman, a good-looking professional out of San Diego, California, is going to spend the first day chalking up a 6 under par score that's going to place him 2 shots behind the leader. At the final hole, Brian's going to seek a birdie putt that's going to give him sides of 35-31 for his 66. Now, this guy's been close to winning for the past couple of tournaments, and all year long, he's been one of the top players on the tour. Sean Haberstroh is another great player in the making. Sean's going to get his par 4 at the 18th hole of the Pepsi-Cola Open, and his 4 under 68 puts him on the first day leaderboard, but trailing by 4 strokes. Michael Foster, the big guy out of Vacaville, California, picks up a Thursday birdie on the 18th, and he's 5 shots back of the leaders, but with a solid 69. Michael Christie, a winner a couple of weeks ago in Bowling Green, Kentucky, picks up a par at the 18th, and he'll be in a group of 22 pros at 2 under par 70. Maybe one of the better putts of the day belongs to a local pro, Don Pollard. Brian Wagner and Lan Gooch are going to have 8 under par 64s, and they'll hold the first day lead. Now, Gooch and Wagner will hold on to their lead through the second round. Again, both are going to have 69s. They'll finish the 36 holes at 11 under par, and that's the same score that another man has come up from the field to register. He's Bobby Schaefer of Alhambra, California. Matt Ewing of Seton, Illinois is having a good tournament. And the guy who won earlier this year at Natchez, Mississippi gets it to 6 under par in the second round. He's still 5 shots in back. There's going to be a total of 66 players at 3 under par or better who will play for the $100,000 in purse money. So after the first 36 holes of play, 3 players shared the lead at 11 under par. Brian Wagner of Irving, Texas, and Lan Gooch of Houston, Mississippi are veteran Hooters Tour players, while a new name has emerged atop our 36-hole leaderboard. He's Bobby Schaefer of Alhambra, California. There are 4 players just a shot back, and that's where we find Mr. Johnson. Also, part-time Nike Tour player Rob McKelvey of Lawrenceville, Georgia, Brian Gorman of San Diego, and Jeff Thorson of Jacksonville, Florida. Now, the group of 5 at 9 under par includes Vance Veazey of Senatobia, Mississippi, Sean Haberstroh of Scottsdale, Arizona, Dwayne Lorio of River Ridge, Louisiana, Andrew Morse of Needham, Mass., and Ron Winchie of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. When we return to this week on the Hooters Tour, we're going to check out our top 10 qualifiers from a field of 42 at this Southern Ohio golf course. And yes, there were 3 10-man shootouts featuring 21 local players and 9 Hooters Tour players. And you're going to meet the Hooters Tour's own version of the Gentle Giant and a little guy that's amazing with a ball and a sand wedge. All that's coming up right after this.
Hi, I'm Megan from the Charleston, West Virginia Hooters. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Who's getting happy? Who's having fun? Who's been to Hooters? Come on, everyone, it's at Hooters. Hooters. Hooters makes you happy.
Hooters makes you happy.
Hooters makes you happy.
Hooters makes you happy.
Good times, great food, fun music, what a hoot. Hooters. Hooters. Everybody's getting happy at Hooters.
Now swing your partner round and round on the best dang caller in this town.
You know, there are only a few Bud Lights left.
Okay! Head out the door, you gals and men. Don't stop till you hear from me again. Get on out of here. See ya. Say hello to your mama. Bye-bye.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
How we gonna get paid?
Kim, on Monday, always our first big event is that qualifier. Now this week, due to the large number taking part, I think there was something like 13 players were added to the field. Medalist honors shared by a couple of guys. Rick Bash was one of those, and then Bob Sowards was the other one. Now, there were other top qualifiers, a guy by the name of Rick Fricky, and also Robert Kearney and Rick Mahar.
In the shootout, it came down to a couple of prominent names on the Hooters Tour. Greg Parker and the guy who obviously loves this course, Eric Johnson. It came down to a chip-off from the sand trap beside the number 9 green, where Parker's ball was 14 inches closer to the hole. Thus, he took the $500 first prize, with Johnson getting second and $300. Mike Swartz of Phoenix took third and $200.
Now, Wednesday's Big Pro-Am, again, the winning team included, you guessed it, Eric Johnson. Now, they did have a card playoff, but they did win. Now, his amateur partners were Scott Davis, Steve Staker, also with him was Brett Walker, and Joe Gherkin. The pre-tournament activities concluded with a long drive contest where David Amsalem won with a drive of 323 yards, and guess who came in second? Well, it was the old man himself out there with his driver, Steve Thomas. Now, Amsalem's was 323, again, Thomas was about 315 yards.
Last year, T. Burton came of age on the Hooters Tour. While he had challenged in several events for the top prize, he finally made it happen in Decatur, Alabama with his first victory. T. Burton is a former All-American from the University of North Carolina who goes about his business in a quite confident way. He's earned his place as one of the top players on this tour.
Basically, I remember I got a set of golf clubs, I guess for my 9th or 10th birthday. And I remember playing, you know, me and some of the neighborhood kids all started playing about that age.
Nothing really unusual about the early beginnings of T. Burton's golf career. Not even unusual that although he won the county tournament a couple of times, college recruiters weren't knocking down his door.
I wouldn't say I was real heavily recruited, you know, in high school, but I was fortunate enough that Coach Browse got wind of me and became interested, and he gave me a call. You know, we talked and set up a visit, and I went down. Me and my parents went down for a basketball game, and you know, that's basically all I needed was a chance to go, and you know, that's where I'd always basically wanted to go to school. So
the rest is textbook. Playing in the top 5 for the University of North Carolina all 4 years. Earning All-American honors as he won 2 tournaments his sophomore year and was voted All-ACC his last 3 years as a Tar Heel. Burton turned pro in 1990. Last year, he finished 8th on the Jordan Money List with over $25,000. His highlight coming in the Decatur Daily Classic.
Basically, that was probably my real chance in contention. I mean, I had a couple, I guess the year before I maybe finished in the top 10 once or twice, but never really had a lead or been in real contention like that, and it was something different, and you know, it had been a while, I guess, since I'd been in that kind of position, and then, you know, if you're not there all the time, it's hard to remember exactly what you need to do.
Now, as far as we know, Dusty Watson may be one of the only players on this tour with 2 middle initials. He may be just as unique with his sand wedge and a wide repertoire of hand-eye antics.
A lot of people do say that, you know, you're so good with the wedge, you know, why don't you get up and down more? And I think it's more technique than anything. I mean, wedge tricks, you know, I go practice and then I get bored, and so I do a few tricks. And those seem a lot easier than getting up and down at times.
Well, it's a lot easier than getting up and down for this 22-year-old. It all started back in high school, imitating the older guys who would simply bounce the ball on the face of the club out of boredom.
The first trick I ever learned was just to pick it up, you know. And I thought, well, that'd probably be good for your back, you know, save your back. You wouldn't have to bend over so much when you're practicing, pick up that ball. And so I started messing with it, and then you start trying to see how many times in a row you can bounce it. And, you know, I don't know what my record is, 500 or somewhere around there. It's nowhere near the world record, but I just did it for fun, and then I was like, well, what if I do this? What if I do that?
Tricks like spinning in a circle with the ball on the face, or spinning in a circle with the ball bouncing. How about juggling between his legs? Or, one he's still working on, bouncing and flipping the club 360 degrees.
So as you bounce it, the ball, the club flips, and then you catch it, and it's just the timing.
When we come back, more action from the Elks Country Club and the Pepsi-Cola Open, rounds 3 and 4.
Hi, my name's Angel from the newest Hooters in Charleston, West Virginia, and you're watching This Week on the Hooters Tour.
So I said to Henny, of course chickens are more important to Hooters than owls.
Who?
Chickens, that's who.
I beg to differ.
Well, beg all you want. Without chickens, there'd be no chicken sandwiches or chicken salad, or Hooters' famous chicken wings. There'd be no Hooters if it weren't for chicken.
It's really not wise to even argue the point.
That's because I'm right.
No, that's because you're not going to be around long anyway. Chicken.
Naturally fresh, simply delicious. Just wait and see. You'll taste the quality. The quality, preservative free. We always have been, always will be. Naturally, it's simply delicious. Naturally fresh. It's a lifestyle.
Are you still drinking the old thing? Try the next thing, Powerade. With 33% more carbos than Gatorade and a taste you can really slam. Powerade, the next thing.
Again, our leaders after 2 rounds in a 3-way tie are Wagner, Gooch, and Schaefer, they're all at 11 under par. Now here's how round 3 shapes up.
Entering Saturday's third round, 22 players were within 4 strokes of the leaders, Wagner, Gooch, and Schaefer, one of which was Dwayne Lorio of River Ridge, Louisiana. This birdie 2 on the par 3 7th hole moves Lorio to 10 under for the tournament. He fires a 69 today to finish at -12 for the championship. Juan Winchie followed rounds of 67-68 with a disappointing third round 74. This birdie on the par 3 7th hole got Ron to -8, but he would give one back to the course in the remaining 11 holes to finish at -7. Jeff Thorson of Jacksonville, Florida, started the day 1 stroke off the lead after rounds of 67-67. Thorson would lose 3 strokes to the field with his even par 72 round. He'll enter the final day 4 off the lead at -10. Brian Wagner, our 2-round leader, finds a birdie at the par 5 8th hole to move to 1 under for the day and 12 under for the tournament. He'll find one more birdie before the day is out to finish at -2 and 1 off the lead at 13 under for the championship. Bobby Schaefer, who after rounds of 65-68 had a disappointing 74, with this birdie on 8, one of the few highlights of the day. He'll lose 5 strokes to the leader. Sean Haberstroh, after a bogey at the par 3 7th hole, found a couple of birdies in the next 4 holes. This one at the par 5 11th hole moves him to 3 under for the day and 12 under for the tournament. He shoots a 70 today and will be 3 off the lead. Some other names battling for the title. Eric Johnson, a 2 under 70, puts him at -12, 2 strokes off the lead. Andrew Morris, he fires a 69 and he too will be 2 off the pace for Sunday. Vance Veazey followed rounds of 66-69 with a strong 68. He's 1 back going into the final round. Brian Gorman played steady golf. His 4 under par 68 puts him 1 in front of Veazey and Wagner going into Sunday's final round.
Eric Johnson, he can shoot 62 or 3, and he has been doing it almost every week. So I'm going to have to go out and shoot low tomorrow. Anybody can go out and shoot 65 on this course. It's just a matter of making the putts, which we did not do on the back 9. I made 9 pars, but fortunately I'm still in the lead.
After 54 holes of play, Brian Gorman moves to the top of the leaderboard as his 202 total on this par 72 layout puts him at 14 under par. There are 2 at 13 under, Vance Veazey and Brian Wagner, and 7 at 12 under. They include Brian Contact, Dennis Zinkin of Haines City, Florida, Spike McCroy of Huntsville, Alabama, Dwayne Lorio, Andrew Morris, Eric Johnson, and Lan Gooch.
So after lots of rain and fog had cleared out, here's how the final 18 holes of drama in the Southern Ohio event concluded.
The Elks Country Club on Sunday. Perfect conditions after heavy fog caused a 2.5-hour delay. With 4 players, 3 back at 11 under, 7 players, 2 back at 12 under, and 2 players, 1 back at 13 under. Brian Gorman, our 3rd round leader, would have to be sharp to win on this day. After 3 rounds in the 60s, Gorman would post a 2 under 70 to wind up in a tie for 5th place. Earlier in the day, Doug Barron would hole out on the par 3 4th hole for an ace and turn 8 under for the day with this birdie on the par 5 15th hole. A 2-stroke penalty for removing an immovable obstruction would give him a final score of 66 as he finishes tied for 18th. Andrew Morse came out hungry. Out of the 7 groups of leaders, Morse was the only one to birdie the first hole. He will birdie 18 as well on the way in, posting a final round 66, which was 1 shy off our eventual winner. Brian Contact of Phoenix, Arizona was also in a great position to win his first tournament of the year. Contact, starting the day 2 back, posts a 6 under 66 today, but he too falls 1 short, cashing in $6,750 in a tie for 2nd. Eric Johnson, who week in and week out as of late, was also 2 back starting the day. This eagle at the par 5 8th hole gets Johnson to 16 under. He will birdie 18 as well, posting a final round 67, finishing in 4th place. The man who came to win started the day at 13 under, one back of Brian Gorman. Vance Veazey of Senatobia, Mississippi had rounds of 66, 69, 68 coming into today. A slow start made Vance a long shot for the betting few, but after the front nine, the tide began to turn. Veazey would birdie the final 6 holes on this hilly Ohio golf course to squeeze in a one-stroke victory and the $15,000 first place check.
I'm ecstatic. It was a great feeling. Everything just kind of came together all at once, and the last 6 holes, just the putts fell. I hit good shots, and I got the putts to drop.
The final leaderboard at the Pepsi-Cola Open in Portsmouth, Ohio is again Vance Veazey taking first with a 4-day total of 268. Tied for second was Andrew Morris and Brian Contact. Eric Johnson takes fourth with Rob McKelvey and Brian Gorman sharing the 5th place. Jason Biddick, Dwayne Lorio, and Brian Wagner all had a fine showing, 273 totals. They'll each get $2,100. A couple of other names, Ryan Howison of 65 on Sunday, puts him in the top 10 along with Spike McCroy of Huntsville, Alabama. When we return, Chip Drury, a former University of Georgia golfer, will help us get our ball out of the divot. And we'll check with one of our Hooters rules officials for our weekly rules tip. Also, points and money standings in just a moment.
You know, I don't think there's any worse feeling when playing the ball down than winding up with your ball squarely in a divot. Well, Chip Drury is going to show us today how that little problem can be overcome.
Hey, I'm Chip Drury. You just unleashed a magnificent drive on the 18th hole. You're striding confidently down the fairway, eagerly anticipating a birdie, and you look down and you see your ball sitting in a divot. You can alter your strategy, though, and still recover from this lie. You just have to remember that out of a divot, the ball is going to tend to fly lower because it's sitting in a hole. It's going to have more backspin on it because there's not going to be any grass between the club face and the ball, and it's not going to go as far. When you hit out of grass, the ball will tend to get a little bit of a jump, even if it's a fairly clean lie, because of the grass getting between the club face and the ball. Out of a divot, you don't get that effect. Another thing you can also remember out of a divot, you don't necessarily have to hit it low. If you maintain a good spine angle through impact, if you stay level through the ball, you can play the ball up in your stance and catch it slightly on the upswing. Preferably you have less margin for error if you play it back in your stance and catch it on the downswing, trap the ball. But if you, like I say, if you stay level through the ball, you can work the ball up in the air a little higher. Let's see if we can get it on the green out of this lie. The green's out over those trees. That should leave us a birdie putt. We hope to see you at the next Hooters Jordan Golf Tournament.
You know, Lee, I really find that our weekly rules tip is something that really helps me better understand the game. Let's check in today and see what our officials have for us.
Hello again, golfers. I'm Doug Findley, Director of Rules for the Hooters Professional Golf Tour. On this week's rules tip, we are going to talk about ball marks, pitch marks, and specifically USGA Rule 25-2, which tells us what to do when our ball becomes embedded in its own pitch mark. Golfers, let's look together at two common situations concerning this rule. Our first situation actually happened in a recent Hooters Tour event to our all-time leading money winner, Eric Johnson. Eric's ball came to rest just off the green on the collar, and on his line of play there was a ball mark on the green. And his question was he able to repair the ball mark? Rule 16-1C says it was. He is allowed to repair his ball mark even though his ball was not on the putting green. The second situation we want to show you is an embedded ball in its own pitch mark through the green. Here's what the rules permit us to do. In this situation, our ball is embedded in its own pitch mark very close to the edge of the green, but not on the green. In this situation, we may lift the ball, clean it, and drop it as nearly as possible to the spot where it lay, but not near the hole. And remember, you are not allowed to repair the pitch mark because it is not on the green. Golfers, we hope you enjoyed today's tip on the rules of golf. See you next week on This Week on the Hooters Golf Tour.
Lee, the official earnings to date on the Hooters Professional Golf Tour is shaping up like this. Dickie Thompson still holds the lead with over $46,000. Number 2 is Ricky Smallridge with almost $43,000. Jimmy Green is next, followed by Andrew Morse and Mike Swartz. The bottom half of our top 10 has Paul Claxton, this week's winner Vance Veazey, Eric Johnson, Steve Pope, and Chris Smith. In the Naturally Fresh bonus race for $100,000, Andrew Morse jumps into first place with a 21-point lead over Ricky Smallridge. Also challenging in the top 10 is Dickie Thompson, Mike Swartz, Paul Claxton, Greg Parker, Brian Gorman, Ryan Howison, Eric Johnson, and Bo Fennell.
So another week and another great golf course for our guys to do battle on for that $100,000 purse. Again in Portsmouth, Ohio. We think of the special people here like Dick Cook and Scott Davis. They're the directors of our tournament here.
Also, we were joined by a brand new charity, a Special Wish Foundation, and we were glad that they took part in the event this year. Next week, we travel to Columbia, South Carolina for the second time, but to Crick & Tree Golf Course for the first time. The former PGA Tour pro who won on the PGA Tour at one time, Mike Holland, is the director of golf at Crick & Tree. He'll be our host for the week. And a special thanks to the Hooters gals who came over here earlier in the week, and they were from the brand new Hooters restaurant in Charleston, West Virginia. Until then, we'll be seeing you at your favorite Hooters. Bye now.
This Week on the Hooters Tour is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants. Hooters, delightfully tacky yet unrefined. Naturally Fresh Foods, naturally fresh preservative-free salad dressings, sauces, and dips. And by Bud Light. Make it a Bud Light. If you like the clothes that Kim and Lee are wearing, call the Hooters Merchandise Catalog at 1-800-961-2231 for all Hooters of America apparel.